California, Mr. McClintock, for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope you all have a chance to meet Freddie the Beagle, who's, I think, in the anteroom right now. Freddie's a 5-year-old CBP detection dog who serves our country every day, along with his handler, Agent Melissa D. Snyder. Freddie was found abandoned as a puppy at the side of a Georgia road. He was adopted into the USDA's Detector Dog Program. He's since conducted over 590,000 searches, resulting in nearly 2,000 seizures of prohibited agricultural products attempting to be brought into the country. These dogs are highly trained to alert if they smell contraband being smuggled across our nation's ports of entry. To them, it's a playtime game, but they're the most efficient and unobtrusive system we have to secure busy airports. Now, on June 24th of this year, Freddie and Melissa were working Dulles International Airport. On that day, Freddie alerted to luggage on a flight coming from Egypt. While Agent Snyder questioned the owner, this man violently kicked Freddie with sufficient force to lift Freddie off the ground. Freddie suffered contusions to his right forward rib area. He was taken off duty for 2 weeks to recover. And there they are, by the way. Be sure to say hi. It turns out this man was smuggling 117 pounds of meat and produce which were prohibited from entering the United States. Well, he pled guilty to harming an animal used in law enforcement. He was deported to Egypt 2 days later. He will never be allowed back in our country again unless, of course, another Joe Biden becomes president. Now, that same month, leftist protesters in Los Angeles physically attacked horses used by the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department for crowd control during an anti-ICE riot. Horses are used extensively by federal agencies for crowd control and also for access to remote areas along the border frequented by human and drug traffickers. So Congressman Calvert brings us this simple bill that says that if you are convicted of harming a law enforcement animal or you admit to doing so, while you are a guest of our country, you will immediately be expelled and never allowed to return. Yes, it is true that we have good laws to punish such animal cruelty, and yes, such assaults can be defined as moral turpitude to bar admission, but that finding can often require Byzantine legal proceedings. They'd eat up valuable time and resources if they're pursued at all. Now, I know that many of our Democratic colleagues support the open border policies of the Biden administration, which encouraged the largest illegal mass migration in history. They admitted the world's most violent criminal gangs and cartels into our communities. They suppressed American workers' wages, and they cost taxpayers an estimated $160 billion a year to support. I know that many are now vigorously, and in some cases violently, opposing the enforcement of our immigration laws under the Trump administration. They can't change these laws, so they seek to obstruct their enforcement and attack and harass and threaten the law enforcement officers who are upholding them. Some Democratic state and local officials have even revived the disgraced doctrine of nullification to defy federal law that we all thought had died with the Confederacy. Now, this is a deep and irreconcilable divide between our parties that only voters can ultimately resolve. But can't we at least all agree that kicking a 5-year-old beagle at an airport should disqualify any foreign national from entering our country ever again? That's the entire one-paragraph law, and I hope we can put aside our political differences and all support it. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the ranking member, Mr. Raskin, for an opening statement.
And thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. As co-chair of the Animal Protection Caucus and a huge dog person, I think I counted 7 in our extended family this morning, I've taken a strong interest in this bill, and the case underlying it, the case indeed illustrates the cavalier, violent abuse of animals that's still pervasive in our country, around the world. Alas, the bill is a great example of a trend that I think both sides have tried to resist, which is duplicating existing offenses and simply filling the statute books with redundant provisions. It all started, as the gentleman said, when Canine Detective Freddie the Beagle, who we get to meet today, who was working with Customs and Border Protection, detected smuggled agricultural products at Dulles Airport. Apparently, he repeatedly barked and alerted his commanding officers to the presence of over 100 pounds of prohibited food items in bags unloading in the luggage pickup area. And the prohibited food belonged to Hamed Ramadan Bayoumi Ali Marie, age 70, a traveler and a foreign national visiting from Egypt. So this gentleman, apparently frustrated and angry over the dog's excellent detective work, kicked Freddie so hard he became airborne and suffered bruised ribs. And if you're an animal lover like me, you would exclaim, that should be illegal. And sure enough, it was illegal. Mr. Marie was promptly arrested, held by the police for several days, and then he pled guilty to one count of harming animals used in law enforcement under 18 U.S.C. 1368. He was convicted, and he was sentenced to time served by the judge, ordered to pay the veterinarian's bill, which records show was $840. I'm glad to see that Freddie is doing fine. And then he was promptly, Mr. Marie was promptly deported and sent back to Egypt. So, as the case itself demonstrates, the conduct is already criminally proscribed and is the basis for removal of a non-citizen. It's against the law now to kick a police dog, and Mr. Marie won himself 3 days in jail for doing it. But the opportunity to introduce a redundant bill is apparently impossible for us politicians to pass up. H.R. 4638 would render inadmissible and deportable any non-citizen who willfully harms a police dog or a police horse. I'm unaware of any mad rush of immigrants roaming the country and attacking police animals, so I'm not sure what crisis this surplus language is responding to. I don't know if it's about horses being bootstrapped in. I'm sure anyone attacking a horse would also be swept under the current statute. In any event, what should have happened here did happen here. Mr. Marie was criminally charged, prosecuted, convicted, and removed from the country. In other words, the criminal justice system, the immigration system worked just like they're supposed to. A foreign national committed a crime. He was arrested, charged, prosecuted, convicted, and removed, all without being stripped of any of the due process protections that we afford people in America. So all this bill really does is short-circuit the need to actually prosecute someone for an alleged assault. The bill would render not just a vacation traveler, but even a green card holder deportable for kicking a police animal, even if he or she is never arrested, charged, prosecuted, or convicted of the crime. Now think of that. That's what this bill is doing. It is short-circuiting the entire process which took place in this actual case. So there's no crime so serious that people don't actually have to be prosecuted for it before being punished. If a citizen or a green card holder murders someone today, we require that they be convicted prior to being sent to prison or to being rendered deportable. There must be an actual conviction. If this bill were to become law, individuals accused of attacking police animals will be treated in the immigration system more harshly than people accused of murdering a human being. That just makes no sense. And it sticks out like a sore thumb in our statute books. Under the INA, a non-citizen convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude, or CIMT, is automatically deportable. And the gentleman has conceded that this was treated as a crime of moral turpitude and can be treated that way. There are a wide variety of these offenses, including acts to impede law enforcement and to harm animals. The key point here is that only persons who are convicted of such a crime are rendered deportable. This bill eliminates the conviction requirement, which is a very dangerous road for us to go down. And I know that the Homeland Security Secretary Noem, infamously in her book, bragged about killing her dog, but she should not be fired or punished for that with all the protections of due process, even though she wrote about having done it. If she were to be prosecuted for that, that's something that she should actually be brought to court for and not simply say, oh, there's evidence of it, she's admitted it. I urge members to oppose this bill, and I yield back.
Without objection, all of their opening statements will be included in the record. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from California to offer an amendment in the nature of a substitute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment in the nature.
Without objection, the amendment in the nature of a substitute will be considered as read and shall be considered base text for the purposes of amendment. The chair now recognizes the gentleman